but it didn't take.
Let me guess.
Sean Thompson.
It's not political party per se. It's character. And every decent American should be outraged at the idea that this goes unreported for a decade. It is unfracking believable that every decent American doesn't want to light the torches.
The Sean Thompson Show. Weekday afternoons at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Sleep and relaxation just got smarter. The Z-Cliner by FlexSteel combines comfort with durable design, featuring custom adjustments like headrest, lumbar, heat, and massage, helping you unwind the right way. Whether you're watching TV or taking a well-earned break, Z-Cliner is built for you. Comfort, customization, and FlexSteel quality all in one chair. Experience the Z-Cliner by FlexSteel at Slumberland.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Ben Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G coverage. What? Franklin wasn't even a president. Hang on to those Benjamins. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, to switch to an American wireless company that's truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
That's cold!
Don't get stuck with a cold shower this winter. Give CenterGuard Plumbing a call. Get a new 40-gallon water heater installed for just $1,195 for standard installation, or a 50-gallon heater for $1,295 standard installation. A proud new sponsor of AM 560, CenterGuard is offering specials on new water heaters. Old man winter is here. Don't get stuck in a cold, and the same can happen to your water heater. If you're having hot water issues or your water heater's over 8 years old, take advantage of this winter special today. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon, and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. They'll even haul away your old one, no charge. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive winter special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit CenterGuardPlumbing.com.
Rick Borick talks about the risk of being in the stock market right near retirement.
It's easy to drive around with no seatbelt on if you never think you're going to have an accident, right? And you go, well, it's never going to go down. I don't need protection for my portfolio. We're a big fan of getting those gains, but we're also a bigger fan of not taking huge losses.
Unleash your wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings inviting you to join me on the unforgettable Gulf of America cruise happening this November 2026. Imagine it, turquoise waters, white sand beaches, incredible food, and insightful conversations about the future of our great country. Mike Gallagher and I will dive into the issues shaping America as we cruise through some of the most stunning destinations while honoring the 250th anniversary of our nation. Text cruise to 94878 or visit scottjenningsshow.com and click the cruise banner to sign up today.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560. The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson.
Good Tuesday morning. We're going to hit it hard. We're going to hit it fast today because we've got ourselves a nurse who seems to think they have too much power. 312-642-5600 is our number because we want to know.
A Chicago nurse of all things.
Yeah, his name is Chad, and he works at Midwest Express Clinic in Chicago. And he also worked at Carlisle Foundation Hospital in Urbana. And he posted comments after, amid his grief over Alex Preddy's death in Minneapolis. And in the videos, he referenced nurses' power over femoral arteries. You're familiar with the femoral artery?
Yeah, I think
as the type of ICU nurse I was cardiac ICU nurse. And I did a lot of time, lots of hours, holding on a groin that wouldn't stop bleeding. Let me tell you what, that femoral artery Those veins in the legs, I can't remember. It's late in my shift, okay? I know it. I'm tired. Anyway, the vasculature in the leg, it really bleeds. Bleeds well. Someone could bleed out very quickly from that. Probably like a couple of minutes, really.
And he went on to say that he does not like working with nurses and other healthcare professionals and patients who are MAGA.
I would really suggest to all the healthcare organizations out there that if you have knowingly MAGA employees, that you terminate them.
Disgusting.
They're not safe people to take care of other people. You can't have people who have open racism in the healthcare system. I mean, we already know that exists, because if you're a black woman in healthcare, you know.
What does that mean?
But if you're openly MAGA at this point and you're supporting the murdering of people, you don't deserve to be in healthcare. You should have your license removed.
Well,
that's so disappointing.
What's disappointing is that, but that's, again, this is what happens when medical care is politicized and weaponized. And it happened, I hate to say it, but during COVID, when they put people without their, consent of their family members on a ventilator, gave them pills that
nobody could come in and actually question what they were doing, even if they were also a medical professional.
They made these goofy nurse videos. Remember those on TikTok and on Facebook and Instagram, playing around, having fun. They wish death upon unvaccinated people. And then you've got this guy coming out and politicizing it even more. 312-642-5600.
You know what? Let's go to the phones. We've got Dr. Mendoza on line 1. Let's get her on and get her opinion of this. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Amy. Thanks so much for highlighting this horrific post by this nurse. As you were saying, politicized healthcare is really just like the last stop when a civilization is really coming apart. The lack of, concern for taking politics out of healthcare is really, really serious. There are a lot of, nurses and in medical schools, doctors are being trained to really look at patients as identity groups, with some groups being favored and others not. And this is really the result of it, where people are being dehumanized. And it is really concerning if you go into a hospital. Are you going to get treated fairly if somebody doesn't like your identity group or your politics? And there's just really no place for this in healthcare.
Well, how can, we fight back? I don't think I'm ever going to go to Midwest Express Clinic in Chicago. There's a bunch of them all over the place. Mm-hmm. And do we call them? Do we try? How does he get his license yanked? Because if it was the reverse and you had a Republican saying, I'm not treating Democrats and this is how I know I could let them bleed out and die, it would just not be a matter of seconds before their license got yanked.
Exactly. At the state level, there are boards, nursing boards for medical doctors. And so it can be reported, to those boards that this is an ethical violation and this person should have their license removed.
Well, Carrie, we saw something similar to this with a couple nurses in Florida, and they did have their licenses removed. What do you think will happen with this particular nurse here in Illinois?
Well, unfortunately, the politics with J.B. Pritzker and the Attorney General, they look the other way. Obviously, they should be nonpartisan. They should say this is unacceptable. So it is concerning that we don't have the leadership that's going to just come down strongly against this.
Well, it's so weird because I want you both to hear this, and everybody else listening. He's now claiming that he's a victim. So he has not been fired. We don't even know if he's been reprimanded, but he's gone into hiding.
Okay, so I've become the victim of a coordinated attack between bots and MAGAs. I will be going into hiding for a few days or more. I'll miss you.
Ugh, and he's so schmarmy with it. He's wearing puka shell necklace.
Carrie, you know the deal. Like my son's in med school down in Florida. I looked at his white coat class, 250 kids, roughly 244, and 150 of them were women And of the women, the majority of them were minority women. What does that tell you about who's entering the healthcare field or who's getting into the those critical positions?
Yeah, well, there's definitely been, concerns, and there's actually a lawsuit at UCLA Medical School that the Department of Education joined because there's concerns about basically creating these classes in medical school based on trying to have their idea of these balanced groups rather than are you qualified. Now, obviously, I'm a female, I'm a physician, I'm qualified. It doesn't mean that women aren't qualified. It just means that we have been in an era where we know that people have entered because of an immutable characteristic like a skin color or their gender, and not because of their qualifications on the MCATs or other things that they've done. And so look at that UCLA lawsuit that's underway because they've already had discovery showing that certain groups have lower MCAT scores, but they're being let into school, and also just different, people that are running the medical school that are filled with DEI bureaucrats and not even doctors, but they're in there to say, hey, this group, you need more of these students in the school. And so that's what I think, again, we're seeing a downstream effect. Now, with this particular nurse, again, I don't know their qualifications, but what I can say is I have seen that people are scared to discipline because they may be called, a racist or a bigot, instead of saying, hey, this person is not qualified or this person is doing unethical behavior that is not appropriate for the medical environment.
Dr. Mendoza, I just wanted to ask you quick. Somebody texted into the show saying nurse practitioners don't really have to deal with femoral arteries. Is that true?
Well, it completely depends. I've seen just in general various different reasons, but nurse practitioners being allowed to, I think, perform in ways that are outside their skill set. I've seen nurse practitioners cover an ICU at night, and the doctors are at home, and the nurse practitioner is covering the ICU. So I have seen situations where it could be that this person is in the ICU doing something like that.
Okay, well, I want to thank you so much for calling in and weighing in on this conversation. This is why we call our program The Real Story. We got to go to break, though. Dr. Carrie Mendoza, running for Lieutenant Governor, by the way, with Ted Dabrowski. Really appreciate your insight on this important and critical issue.
And coming up on The Real Story, we'll have the real story about those 11,000 missing ballots in Georgia. What's next? Attorney Cleta Mitchell will be joining us.
You're listening to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Stay tuned for a special message from Angel Dad Joe Abraham about his daughter Katie.
Put yourself in my shoes. I just spent my first Christmas without Katie. My daughter was murdered by an illegal immigrant Governor Pritzker protected. Imagine her final breaths, knowing that you would have given your life for hers, but you didn't have the chance. Put your child in Katie's shoes. Think of the unfulfilled dreams, the unrealized joys, and the permanent loss. I'm not a political guy, but when politicians unleash violent criminals, we all need to get involved. We can do better, and we must do better. Ted Dabrowski would have protected Katie, and he'll protect your children the way I wish someone had protected mine.
I'm Ted Dabrowski, and I approve this message.
Well, that was a surprise. The HVAC tech just said our furnace apparently has a cracked heat exchanger, and it'll cost thousands.
Oh, you're kidding. He barely looked at it. Now he's pushing a huge repair? What should we do?
I don't really trust them. We need a second opinion. My brother Mark recommended Air Right Heating and Cooling. I looked them up, and they seem legit. Great Google reviews. I'm sure they'd give us an honest assessment. He liked that they checked their carbon monoxide readings so he knows the air they're breathing is safe. And I guess it also gave a sense of how much life was left in their furnace.
I'd love that peace of mind. Plus, why spend a fortune on something we might not even need?
Get a second opinion from Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you and get $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling right now at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
Mike Lindell has a passion to help people get the best sleep of their life. He started by creating the best pillow ever, and right now he is passing the best prices to you when you use promo code LIBERTY. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get wholesale pricing on the classic My Pillows for $17.98. Transform any mattress with a My Mattress topper and save up to $100. Get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $39.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. These offers won't last long, so call 800-489-0201 or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY. Rest easy remembering that MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty. Call today, 800-489-0201, promo code LIBERTY.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for Townhall.com. In a representative democracy like the United States, the right to vote is precious. It's how we the people decide who will represent us and which laws will govern us. That's why it's restricted to citizens. They're presumed to have the long-term interests of our country at heart. The SAVE Act, short for Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, requires proof of U.S. citizenship for voter registration in federal elections. It's already passed the House of Representatives. Senate Minority Leader John Thune seems reluctant to call it for a vote in the Senate. Given Democratic opposition, the bill's likely to fail despite broad public support. But Americans deserve to know which politicians want to protect the integrity of our elections. Because without confidence in the security of the vote, America risks becoming a representative democracy in name, but not in fact.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back to The Real Story. Amy Jacobson, Jeannie Ives here. And we remember the time Trump made the phone call asking about those 11,000 ballots in Georgia.
You don't need much of a number because the number that, in theory, I lost by the margin would be 11,779. But you also have substantial numbers of people, thousands and thousands, who went to the voting place on November 3rd, were told they couldn't vote. Were told they couldn't vote because a ballot had been put in on their name. And, that's very, 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 very sad. We had, I believe it's about 4,502 voters who voted, but who weren't on the voter registration list. So it's 4,502 who voted, but they were not on the voter registration roll, which they had to be. You had 18,325 vacant address voters. They had no.
All right,
the
I
address
think we
was
get
vacant.
the deal.
And we remember the phone calls because when we
remember
this,
that.
When we question it, radio stations' YouTube channels were shut down. Facebook pages were shut down.
It's like you couldn't talk about COVID
You could
either.
not question authority. And election integrity is very important because in 2 days, guys, early voting begins for the March primaries. And the election day is 7 weeks away.
Well, somebody who's been on top of this issue for a very long time, and in fact was one of Trump's election lawyers. However, she was not one of the 19, Trump plus 18 others who actually got indicted and then arrested in Georgia over this issue. She escaped that. In fact, I remember her saying, "Can you be on my show about this?" And she's like, "Only if I'm not indicted and arrested, then I can be." So she wasn't. But it's Cleta Mitchell. She's a senior legal fellow at the Conservative Partners Institute. But really what she does is she is the founder and the CEO of the Election Integrity Network. And she comes on now to discuss this issue because the FBI last week just seized 700 boxes of the 2020 GA ballots. And guess what? Now they want them back. That's the latest story is Fulton County is challenging Trump's administration's seizure of the ballots in court. Here to explain all this and tell us what's going on is Cleta Mitchell. Cleta, thanks so much for joining us on The Real Story.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeannie.
So what's going on?
Well, what's going on is that maybe, just maybe, we are finally going to start getting to the truth of what happened in Georgia and in particular in Fulton County, in the post-general election of November 3rd of 2020. And the reason I say that is because, fortunately, there was a citizens group, Voter GA, that filed a lawsuit in late December of 2020, and they asked the court to issue a protective order to Fulton County directing that none of the election materials, that none of the ballots, that none of the all the electronic images and materials, that none of that be destroyed, that all of it be preserved. The judge entered the order granting the protective order on, wait for it, January 6th of 2021.
Wow.
And so supposedly they've complied with that. These materials have been under the custody and control of the Fulton County court clerk, and they have been in a warehouse in Fulton County since 2020. And so that's what the FBI went in and seized last week. And the reason is because there are so many anomalies, so many irregularities, so many documented failures, so many suspicious numbers of ballots, ballots without any authenticating images, ballots without the with no provenance, no chain of custody. How did they even get into the system? Ballots which are what we called at the time the pristine ballots, because absentee ballots cannot be hand delivered in Georgia. They have to be sent by mail. So there were all of these observers noted that as the ballots were being counted, that they were not folded, that they were flat, that they had no folds. They had never been in an envelope. And then we learned that over 1 million ballots, absentee ballots, were ordered by Fulton County about 3 weeks before the election, when it was too late to mail them, ordered without any envelopes or without any of the ballot stubs, which are required if those ballots are to be used for. All ballots are supposed to have stubs and they're supposed to have envelopes if they're absentee ballots. And why didn't Fulton County order an additional 1 million ballots, which was twice as many as had ever been cast in Fulton County? So look, I mean, there is so much about Fulton County that was problematic in 2020 and remains problematic. And there have been efforts to obtain access to these ballots and materials for 5 years, including the state election board, which was granted in December of 2025, just before Christmas. The judge denied the efforts by the local election board in Fulton County to keep the state election board from having access to the ballots. And the judge denied that, said, yes, the state election board is entitled to those. And now we see the FBI having gone in and just seized all of it to begin the process of finding out what actually transpired and being able to tell the world that these problems exist.
So why does Fulton County want them back? Why are they so jumpy? What are they trying to hide?
Well, we've been wondering that for 5 years. They are absolutely, if you don't have anything to hide, stop hiding things. And so they've been persistent and consistent, demanding that nobody have access to look at anything, nothing to see here. They've been upheld in that by the state Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, who is a culprit in all of this. The state attorney general is likewise culpable, who has worked with the Secretary of State to sweep everything under the rug for 5 years. He started it, when we were there in 2020. And people need to remember that we filed on behalf of President Trump. I was part of his volunteer legal team. And we put together and filed an election contest consistent with Georgia law, pointing out all of these different anomalies and irregularities in the election results and all these illegal votes that we had identified had been cast.
You're just a conspiracy theorist, Cleta.
Right.
Right.
Well, you know what? Sometimes those conspiracies actually turn out to be true.
Well, okay,
And
but
so-
let's go there. Like, what are we going to find, do you think? Will there be accountability, which is the one thing that I think so many Americans are seeking is accountability. Like, I want somebody's ass in jail.
Well, we would all like that, and I have some candidates for that. But the question will be, your question is appropriate. What will they find? And then is the statute of limitations such that there's no way to prosecute people? My argument would be when the people who are responsible have been involved in a cover-up and denying access to the information that would prove their intentional erasure or deletion of required information, like the digital images of all of the absentee ballots. They've deleted all but 16,000 of the 148,000 absentee ballots that were cast in Fulton County. So there's no authentication. So I would argue that if it can be shown that there, or even a probable cause, that these people deliberately deleted and changed and falsified records, then spending all this time to cover up would seem to me to toll the statute of limitations.
Well, Cleta, we've got a hard break coming up. Can you tell people where they can connect with your work? And also, you forwarded me a report. It says confidential on a draft, but I'd love to put it out to the public. It's the Fulton County Report of Investigation of the 2020 general election by the Election Oversight LLC group.
I will send you one that is not confidential. I probably sent you the draft. I'll send you the final. People can follow our work at electionintegritynetwork.org, or I'm on X at Cleta Mitchell, and I'm going to be publishing I'm going to synthesize all of this into facts people can bite-size understand.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
We're going to
you.
have to leave it there. Attorney Cleta Mitchell, you're listening to AM 560, The Answer.
On February 24th, President Trump will deliver his State of the Union address to Congress.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
At AM 560, The Answer is throwing a viewing party, and you're invited to join us for dinner at the Meridian Banquets and Conference Center in Rolling Meadows. Enjoy dinner before the speech, and then watch the speech with AM 560's Dan Proft, Sean Thompson, Jeannie Ives, Amy Jacobson, and John Anthony. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/party. Sponsored in part by Stephen A. Leahy with Opum Tax Advocates.
News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Donald Trump is set to welcome Colombian President Gustavo Petro to the White House after a long history of trading barbs.
Last year or so, President Trump and President Petro have spent a large chunk of the time tossing insults at one another. Trump calling Petro a drug dealer and a sick man. The leftist Colombian president described Trump as an accomplice to genocide.
That's Fox's Rich Edson. The Trump administration officials say the meeting is going to focus on regional security cooperation and counter-narcotics efforts. A desperate search continues for the 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie.
The Los Angeles Times is reporting that investigators found blood inside Nancy Guthrie's home and that there were signs of forced entry. Fox News is working to confirm those details. The Pima County Sheriff says that there is evidence that she was taken against her will and that she was likely harmed in the process.
Fox's Alicia Acuna. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon will bring mostly cloudy skies and cold temperatures with a high of 26. Tonight, expect partly cloudy conditions and cold weather with a low of 13. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny but chilly with a high of 28. Thursday will have partial sunshine and a high of 31. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then they help you do more with it. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
John was an active man. He'd go for runs, walk the golf course, and always take the stairs instead of the elevator. But then bone-on-bone knee pain got in the way.
Ow!
And affected his mobility. It became too painful to even go for walks. And when it seemed like John's only option was knee replacement surgery, A friend told him about the Joint Relief Institute and their affordable, non-surgical knee pain relief. John met with the Joint Relief Institute and discovered their lubricating gel treatment could rejuvenate his lost cartilage. Safe, effective, no surgery. Long story short, John is now back to being active without pain or medication.
There is an alternative to knee replacement surgery. Stop living in pain. Call the Joint Relief Institute today, 708-315-6800, or visit jointreliefinstitute.com. Locations in Glenview, Oak Brook, and Orland Park. That's 708-315-6800. Medicare and most private insurance plans accepted. Reclaim your mobility with the Joint Relief Institute.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers.
What? No computers? I just upgraded everything.
Looks like they moved fast. We only found out because a neighboring business had their alarm go off. Do you have any security cameras?
No, nothing.
Don't wait until it's too late. Goldilocks protects Chicagoland businesses with custom security solutions. From reinforced commercial doors with keyless entry to cameras and 24/7 monitoring that alerts authorities immediately. Schedule a free on-site assessment at GoldilocksInc.com. Again, that's GoldilocksInc.com. Plus, AM 560 listeners get their first 3 months of monitoring free with a new install. Call 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Goldilocks, Chicago's premier locksmith doors and security systems company since 1981.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-522-2174. 800-522-2174. 800-522-2174.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. Oh, yeah, plenty of sunshine out there.
Absolutely. I just put on a sundress.
Oh, yeah, right. I like whatever. I love it, though. I don't care if it's minus 12 as long as the sun's
I know, but you go
shining.
down to Florida and it hits 65 and they're putting on their parka.
Oh, I know. I had a friend
It's
that
just
called me.
ridiculous.
He's like, it was 29 degrees. You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. You'll get through this. So, but yeah, thank you so much. We've gotten some great feedback. Keep it coming. I love the emails. We got a card the other day. You and I did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. Balloons, flowers. No, we didn't get balloons
Chocolates.
and flowers. No. But it was great. So, and also, too, we're here for you, 312-642-5600. After our next guest, we will be taking phone calls.
That's right. And you know what? Gordon Chang is joining us. He's the author of The Coming Collapse of China. Also, his latest book is Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. He lived and worked in China and Hong Kong for almost 2 decades. And he has been writing about China and North Korea. And those writings have appeared across the big publications, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. He's appeared on all the big channels, CNN, Fox News, CNBC, and many, many others. I've gotten to know Gordon personally as he has gotten involved in the Goshen debate down in Manteno. He came out and did an event for us in October, he and his lovely wife, Lydia. And he joins us now because, guess what? Apparently, there's trouble in China, and she is trying to purge some of his top military commanders. I wanted his take on that. We want to talk about what's going on with Canada choosing up to China. What about the Greenland issue as well? And
what about the infiltration of Chinese students in our universities, especially University of Illinois?
Well, I mean, we could actually talk to Gordon for like an entire hour and a half, but we don't have that. He doesn't have that much time for us. So we welcome right now, though. Thank you so much, Gordon, for joining us on The Real Story.
Well, thank you, Jeannie, and thank you, Amy.
So, what about Xi's purge of his top military commanders? What does this mean, especially in the face of everybody supposed that he was probably getting ready to up the ante against Taiwan?
Yeah, it means that the Chinese military is in disarray, which means the Communist Party is in disarray, which means China is in disarray. Xi Jinping, I think, has lost a lot of control over the military. Yes, he's been able to purge officers, but he needs to continue purging them, as we've seen over the last 2.5, 3 years, which means that the officers are not saluting. And I think what he's doing at this time is getting rid of officers who are opposed to going to war, which that brings up the timeline for an invasion of Taiwan, Japan, the Philippines. Maybe it's just someplace else, but this looks incredibly dangerous.
Well, is there going to be a coup, or is this just dramatized rhetoric that's floating around the social media?
There have been rumors of coups, of unauthorized troop movements, of executions. I think the rumors are mostly false, but the stories of executions could very well be true. And that means that the political struggle in China has actually entered a very dark chapter. It may be very difficult for China to extricate itself because once purges occur, they gain momentum and they're very hard to stop.
And is the population pretty much on complete communication blackout about the top issues going on with Chinese leadership?
Yes, well, in general, Xi Jinping has been closing China off from the rest of the world, and that's been going on for about a half decade. So we know a lot less about China than we once did. But with regard to the recent purge, which was announced on 24th of last month, yes, there's very little news coming out because Xi Jinping has made sure that the world does not know what's going on.
When you talked about executions, how many people are you thinking were executed?
There are reports of about 5 executions. Now, we don't know, and some of them are civilians, some of them are military. There are probably more. These are unconfirmed, Jeannie, but the point is it could very well be true because from what we are hearing and what we are not seeing, a lot of these people are not showing up anywhere, and that's an indication that people have been put to death.
Well, if it's a major world power, they're significant military with nuclear weapons. So, what does that mean for America and the world if communism crumbles or if China crumbles?
The Soviet Union disappeared without almost any blood spilled. But China, I think, is going to be different because Gorbachev was a realist. He understood that the Soviet experiment had failed. Xi Jinping believes in this deeply, and he's going to fight to the very end. And as we've seen, he's probably been putting some of his enemies to death. So this is going to shake out in ways that we can't foresee, which means could be he could lash out at the United States or our friends and partners.
I have a hard time understanding how so many of our wealthy business community can continue to do business in China, understanding exactly the type of persecution their people are under. And, are they do they have a role in basically toppling this administration?
If business actually pulled out their money, as they've been doing.
Yes, they have been.
Foreign direct investment in China has fallen for 3 straight years. 9.5% last year, 27.1% in 2024. So business is starting to leave. And the reason is that Xi Jinping has made it very difficult for foreign businesses to operate. So it's not like President Trump is pulling them out. It's Xi Jinping is pushing them out.
Okay. And what about this, though? What's this new cozy relationship between Canada and China? I mean, we can't have that on our northern border.
Absolutely. President Trump was right to raise national security concerns. We've had many of them with Canada, and for many of Trump's predecessors have let them slide. But now we've got to start solving this. people say Carney entered into that trade agreement with China because he wanted to create some leverage for his discussions with President Trump. Other people believe Carney is a globalist and is a true believer. I don't know what's in Carney's head, but the point is this is not good for the United States. And President Trump has belatedly come around to understand that, because when this trade deal between China and Canada was first announced, Trump said, yeah, that's great. Now he's saying, Carney, if you go forward, there will be consequences. And Trump now is right. There has to be consequences.
Right. Well, what about Russia, too? Because China and Russia are working together. I feel like they're trying to take over Canada.
Well, China and Russia are, with joint military patrols in the Arctic, are pressuring Canada, and they're pressuring us, and they're pressuring Denmark as the sovereign for Greenland. So the Chinese and Russian militaries have made it very clear that they intend to control the Arctic ice cap, especially as it recedes, which means more military activities up there are possible, and more commercial activities for that matter.
So China's got its tentacles absolutely everywhere. Another one of their cozy partners is Iran, and we know what's going on there with the populace. It does appear, however, that the uprising has been sort of beaten down as they've continued to murder thousands of their own people as well. But China definitely had a play in pretty much propping up that regime, and for that they're a bad actor as well.
Yeah, Iran has been a proxy of China.
Yes.
Iran could not have assaulted Israel on October 7th through Hamas if it were not for Chinese support. And China has been, throughout the decades, behind the theocratic regime, including supplying nuclear weapons and ballistic missile technology. So Iran is dangerous because of China. Fortunately, we're seeing the regime there crumble. Now, of course, they've been killing tens of thousands of protesters, but this isn't over yet, and I think that eventually that regime will fall because the people there are just so adamant that they are against it.
Okay, for the record, because this is going to lead into my next question, for the record, would you consider China our number one adversary?
Absolutely. It's the number one threat, and the reason is that the other threats, Russia, Iran, Venezuela, North Korea, they are all backed by China, and China is making them threats, giving them the power to actually challenge the international system and threaten the United States.
So then that begs the question, one, why in the hell is Governor Pritzker giving the CCP-backed company Goshen $500 million? Why is he doing that? And number two, why are we educating all these Chinese nationals at our universities across the United States, but even more specifically in Illinois?
Well, with regard to Governor Pritzker, I have no idea why he's doing that, except he thinks, it's great, there's more business for Illinois. And he has just an insufficient appreciation of China's threat. As for the students in our universities, no, they shouldn't be there. And the reason is we know that about 13% or so of them commit espionage. We also know that every spot that they take is one fewer spot for an American. And because the Chinese are predominantly in STEM topics, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, it means that we're not educating our kids in the skills necessary for the 21st century. Yes, it's nice to have students from various countries in the U.S. That's a great thing. But the point is, the Chinese, there are like 277,000 of them in the United States at last count. That's down from about 100,000 more in 2023. So they're just flooding our universities and our colleges, and we should be educating Americans.
I want to go back and talk to you quickly about Greenland. I'm a Trump supporter, but I don't like the way that it went down. I don't like that he was threatening a use of force. I thought he was trolling a little bit. Maybe the Europeans overreacted. But what did that all get us?
It got us a framework agreement, which is yet to be hammered out. But it did get Denmark to understand that there was a threat. And also it's true for NATO. And I absolutely agree with you. You should never threaten the use of force against a NATO ally. That was not good for the United States. There's a whole lot of conversation about that. But the point is right now that we're on the right track, because at this point, Trump is talking to Denmark and NATO about how to better defend the Arctic.
All right. Well, he's Gordon Chang. He is the foremost authority on all things related to China. And Gordon, I absolutely appreciate you taking some time today and talking to us, because the purge that she did with his military just happened. It's fairly recent, and we don't still know the repercussions of that. But you helped sort it all out. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes. Have a great day, and thank you so much for joining The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson. Coming up next, we'll take your phone calls, 312-642-5600. And also, Jeanne, just for you, I have civilian checkpoints in major cities that I know you're going to love.
Don't believe the official narrative? You've got the real story on AM 560, The Answer.
Sean Thompson here, and with me today is my friend Dr. Michael Huber, who is one of the creators and developers of Virago. So, Dr. Huber, why don't you tell us what Virago is, what inspired you to create it, and the benefits of it?
I created Virago with 23 natural ingredients that work together to create this immune response in the body. I created it to fight viruses in the beginning, and it's turned into a huge immune booster in a liquid form.
Right, and why a liquid versus a pill?
A liquid provides a rapid response time in the body, and it's optimal for absorption. When you swish it and it's in your mouth, stimulating the bitter taste receptors, you get a rapid response. Like within 15 minutes, you can have a decongestion in your nose.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. And now you can order a bottle at myvirago.com. Myvirago.com. Use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Virago and Maha.
Maha starts with Virago.
Making America healthy again.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
AM 560, The Answer.
312-642-5600. That is the number. The show is The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson.
Hey, keep those calls, emails, texts coming. We appreciate them. Just got one from a man who was listening in the car today and basically said that the deranged male nurse spouting his anti-MAGA hate was important for him to hear. They have the nerve to call those who disagree with them fascist. His diatribe is an audio definition of fascism. And then he said, glad to have your show as an option in the middle of the day.
Thank you so much. 312-642-5600. You can watch us on YouTube at Breakthrough Ideas, the YouTube channel, AM 560 Facebook page, online at 560theanswer.com. And you can always listen to the podcast. A lot of people called yesterday and said, how do I get the podcast? Well, you download the app, and I love walking old people through this with my mom. Like, okay, you're going to download the what? You're going to download the app. You're going to press the button.
Right.
And the bottom right-hand corner is a podcast button, and you press that, and it's got every show.
Right.
And you can listen anytime you want.
Yep, we're called The Real Story on that podcast list.
Rick in LaPorte, Indiana, you're on The Real Story. Good morning, Rick.
Yeah, good morning, ladies. I didn't know if you guys were aware, but the chancellor at Purdue University Northwest in Hammond, he's a Chinese nationalist.
Really? What's his name?
Yep. I don't know his name. You'd have to, look that up. But I do remember hearing about it because I listened to that local radio station, and they used to be with Purdue, but they're moved out of there now. But yeah, hasn't been there that long either. I think he's only been there maybe a year or two. But he is a Chinese nationalist. So
Okay, thanks for that info.
We're going to have Steve Cortez on because he did a documentary.
Yes.
And he did a great one, too, about wind turbines.
Yes.
And the energy that they don't produce. And so this is
He also did one on the Obama Center.
Yeah. And this is about students, Chinese students, because there's thousands. It's the highest population.
Right. And so that comes out on Thursday, and Steve Cortez will join us Thursday for our show about that.
All right, let's go to Glenn in Orlando. Hey, Glenn, how are you?
Oh, good morning. Congratulations on the show, and I wish you lots of success. So on the 2024, speaking of elections, election integrity, 2024 election, Kamala Harris won every state that did not have voter ID. And that's why we need to have voter ID in every state to make sure there's integrity. Now, Judicial Watch has done a lot of stuff with lawsuits, and I think they just got 800,000 ballots from Oregon removed from their voter rolls because it was just too fishy what some of those ballots were.
Voters removed.
Yeah, okay. But we need to push for integrity on the voting, for sure.
Yeah, my organization, Breakthrough Ideas, is involved in a Judicial Watch lawsuit. We're suing the state of Illinois to clean up their voter rolls, and so that is in discovery at this point.
Well, I mean, how many dead people are on the voter rolls?
They're there. They're there. I've seen them.
Well, when was when was the last time the voter rolls were cleaned?
Oh, they say that they do them regularly, and they actually don't.
Oh, really? Okay. Thanks, Glenn, for the phone call. Let's go to Ralph in West Loop. Good morning, Ralph. How are you? Almost good afternoon. Raphael, excuse me, Raphael.
It's Raphael, yes.
Well, I'm the name assessor, Raphael, so just bear with me.
Okay, good morning, and thanks for taking my call. I wanted to call about what happened last year. Two young women were visiting friends at college in Urbana, Katie Abraham of Glenview and Chloe Polson of Deerfield.
Mm-hmm. I know
and
them.
They were both killed by a drunk driver who was here illegally. So I wanted to congratulate Katie's father, Joe Abraham, for pointing out that his daughter would still be here if not for Illinois' sanctuary policy. And he's been lately appearing in commercials supporting Ted Dabrowski's candidacy for governor.
That is all
What
true.
I can't understand is why Katie's mother hasn't joined him, but at least he's standing up for his daughter. And it also leads me to ask about the other young woman who was killed, 21-year-old Chloe Polson of Deerfield. I haven't heard anything from her parents. I would have to ask them, ¿Qué pasó? ¿Dónde están? Where are you? Why don't we hear you standing up for your daughter?
Well, everybody handles death differently. I can tell you that after interviewing people who've lost loved ones.
Some do not want the attention and they don't want to be in the political light.
Right, but also too, they might disagree politically.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
absolutely.
Katie
Yeah.
Abrams' mother, they're divorced, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Joe and Katie's mom. She wrote an article, an editorial in the Tribune, and she disagrees. She doesn't want to be linked. She doesn't want her daughter's name to be linked to any ICE raids or projects that were here in Chicago. Because remember, it was called the Katie Abrams Midway. I can't remember. I'm sorry, but you know what I'm talking about. Like she was just offended that her daughter
was named for her.
Was linked to that.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of breaking news. Real quick, hold on. We'll get to Dan in a second. Jill Biden's ex-husband, William Stevens, has been charged with first-degree murder. Okay. And for allegedly killing his current spouse. So more problems for the Bidens.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, can you believe that? That's just another stain on that family. All right, let's go to Dan. You are joining us from Salem, Wisconsin, north of the Cheddar Curtain. Good morning, Dan.
Hi, ladies. Yeah, I was just going to tell you real quick. You can't even buy a six-pack or a pack of cigarettes at the BP gas station without them scanning your driver's license. They won't give it to you.
Yep.
You know, speaking about voter ID, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, I know, and you can't get on a plane, and you can't. There's a list of things you cannot do. But for some reason, the Dems really don't like voter identification.
Well, we know. We just had that whole section with Cleta Mitchell. They want to hide everything. All right. How about Minnesota checkpoints?
Oh, yeah, real quick. Minnesota checkpoints. This is for you. So they're setting up these civilian checkpoints where neighbor
it's
is
disgusting.
Well, they're
it's
just
disgusting. I would take the arrest for punching them out.
They have a list of
You
license.
try and block me like this, I'm punching you out, and I'll
Wait,
take
I haven't
the arrest.
said it yet. You got a list. I said this. They have a list of license plates that they think are attached to ICE agents.
You know, as
Oh,
the
that's
type
not
of
it.
ICE
Hold on,
nurse.
hold on.
I know, and it's nothing to do with your work or you personally. It's just a safety issue. We don't let cars through once we have a big crowd like this. I'm sorry about the inconvenience.
Right there and let me go that way.
This is a black man in a U-Haul.
I know.
You can go that way on 3202.
Yeah, they've got these white activists stopping a black man trying to make a delivery.
Why am I about to go all the way around? I'm not going towards them. If y'all stand where I can't go that way. I'm going that way.
You
want to turn left?
Yeah, listen.
I'm trying to turn right.
All right.
And then finally, this nosy lady inserts herself. She's like, let him go through. Here's an Uber driver. This is great.
Hey, how's it going?
You said his license plates are ICE?
Doing good, yeah. I was just saying, it looks like in our system, your plates came up as an ICE plate. That doesn't seem like it's the case. But I just wanted to come through and see what was up and talk to you. See how
Can you imagine they're setting up?
Can
these
you imagine?
checkpoints?
No, I would be out of my car. I would physically get involved, and I would take the arrest for it.
There's some more we can play tomorrow, but
right.
couples trying to go to the burger joint, not working.
That was a really quick show. We'll be back tomorrow.
Have a wonderful day.
Perhaps you're a collector, or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donley Auction. The market